Thank you, Shirley. It's been a hectic week. A lot of our meetings now are on Zoom. That's the new norm. Good afternoon again, District Governor KS Teo, past District Governor that's in the room today with us. Thank you for joining us today. Future governors, we've got DGE Bindi, DGE Dolly, and also District Governor nominee Dr. Krishna. And most importantly, all the Rotarians here today that has made a commitment to join us on a beautiful afternoon, Sunday afternoon that is, to join our room session 3.0. Now the numbers that had registered in our session today was very promising. It's interesting and it motivated us, despite the fact that I know many of us here were already tagged with many other virtual sessions. Now that's the new norm. That's the way that we're conducting our trainings these days. And this is perhaps the best current method to reach out to all the Rotarians in our district and all around the world. Now, most of you are aware that we have also just completed an introductory session for our WOW RILA workshop on weekends, our first ever virtual RILA. I can see Shirley smiling, job well done to the RILA team. We did our introduction yesterday, but a shout out to all the clubs in our district, all the Rotarians that made that 125 RILA participants possible. Wonderful. Please also note that our district Vibrant Club Leaders Training Seminar has been postponed. It was supposed to be, the Kuantan edition for our Vibrant Club session was supposed to be in Kuantan on the 24th of October. Because of CMCO, we have now postponed it to the 19th of December. So we hope to see you in Kuantan on the 19th of December. There will be some changes also going on to our midterm review, and we shall inform all clubs accordingly. So back to our today's session. Now our session today was to enable our youth program to receive the attention and the airtime that it so rightly deserves. Even though we know that with the CMCO, the school system and the condition with regards to our interaction with interact clubs, with students have been affected. So I believed, and the team believed, that this was a good opportunity to allow or to share our youth program, our update on the Interact Club. We've got our District Interact Assembly that's coming up. We really want it to be an in-person session, but with this third round of CMCO, we are not sure whether that's going to happen. So we're all keeping our fingers crossed. But Rotarian Nicholas, our Interact Chair, is very positive. So he's going to share, and you will also see something like this. We have come up with a very interesting District Interact Handbook. So that will also be revealed to you ways of using it in our youth session today. And we've also got the Youth Exchange Program. We've got the chair of our Youth Exchange Program here today, Pushpa, who will be sharing with you what a wonderful program the Youth Exchange Program is. And this is the only program that directly can benefit our Rotarians and their family. So it's an international program. It's worth sharing it with all Rotarians in our district, again, especially the new Rotarians. Now, we also have our Yayasan Club Rotary Malaysia in room 2, which will come on at 3 o'clock. Now this will be brought, our session for YKKRM will be brought by none other than the chairman of our Yayasan. Now this is a unique position where we have in our meets also attendance from Rotarians in District 3310, whereby they'll be here because they are also interested parties in our Yayasan. So we hope that everyone will welcome the opportunity to learn today. After District Governor KS Teo addresses you all after my session here, you will then be directed to your respective breakout rooms. Now, should you not be able to go to either room, either room 1 or room 2. You have been assigned to the room according to your registration. There will be the host who will be able to assist you in the main room. Please either chat or call out to them. They'll be able to move you to your desired room. So I will be really amiss here today also if I do not thank the team that has made all this possible. Now, we have been amazingly active since MCO. We replaced the whole virtual session, our district training assembly, with a virtual session, room 1. Then we went on to room 2.0, and now we are in room 3.0. Guys, I don't promise you that we may not be doing a room 4.0, but let's keep our options open. But most importantly, the training team and the district secretariat, thank you very much for standing by our governor and all the Rotarians in our district for putting this together for the benefit of all Rotarians. The Rotarians that are here today, the success of each session really is attributed to your participating in our room session. So it makes all this effort worthwhile. Thank you, District Governor K.S. Teo, for appreciating the work that we do here. And we hope that we are in one way or another able to reach out to Rotarians and share Rotary so that Rotarians are more well informed and you'll be able to do your duties much more easily. To all Rotarians present here today, I hope that you will go forth to your respective breakout rooms after District Governor Teo's address and participate in the subject that you've chosen. Please feel free to ask all the questions that you want. And I hope to see you again at our closing session around 4:45 after the Yayasan session. So please stay back. Those who are in the Yayasan session, please stay back after that session. Thank you very much. Shirley, back to you.
Thank you very much, District Trainer, past District Governor Kiranjit Kaur. Now we would like to call upon our Governor, Teo Kwan Swee, to give us his welcome address. Over to you, Governor.
Thank you, Shirley. Now, my dear friends and fellow Rotarians from District 3300, District 3310, and other districts who are present here today, a very good afternoon and warm welcome to all of you. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Rotary Opens Opportunities Masterclass, in short, Room 3, which is an extension of our very innovative e-learning programs started since April 2020 in the face of COVID-19 pandemic. It has been a wonderful and rewarding e-learning experience brought to the district online through the various topics of interest by our very capable training team headed by PTG Kiranjit over the past 6 months. To fulfill our promise and commitment that we will come up with more trainings and sharing of Rotary information, we have today included Interact Movement and Youth Exchange Program in our training modules. In addition, now how much you know about Yayasan Club Rotary Malaysia is again something unprecedented and utterly necessary for us to have a comprehensive knowledge of what our very own charity arm is doing. Allow me to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the district trainer, PTG Kiranjit, facilitators, PTG Dr. Paul Lee, Chairman of Yayasan Club Rotary Malaysia, District Youth Exchange Chair, PAG Puspa Devi, and Rotarian Kevin Kwok from Taiwan, District Interact Chair, Rotarian Nicholas Chan, and of course, not forgetting our resource person, DGN Dr. Krishna Kumar. It is this group of very dedicated Rotarians that make this Room 3 e-learning program possible. Lastly, my thanks to all the participants. It is your support that gives us the inspiration to move on. We hope you can take home at the end of the day new ideas and knowledge that will enable you and your club to better organize and discharge your role and responsibilities in the respective areas covered today. Besides all the topics covered so far, we would consider having all the 5 avenues of service included in our trainings, if we can, as they really form the backbone of our clubs. My friends, have fun and enjoy the session. Take care, stay safe and healthy until we meet again in person. Thank you.
Okay, so Bernard can see my slides, right, Bernard?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So again, sorry for the slight little technical problem. So again, a couple of updates before we go into the main session itself. In tracker updates is quite a number of things been happening ever since the last session we met. The last session we met was actually an online session. I think I met Hugh Jenkins for the first time. He attended from Penang. We talked a little bit about what are the updates about the change of term. We will talk about that later. And I think I'll touch back on what Bernard, thank you so much for updating them on the change of Rotary, the in-track term. So I'll continue on that later. So upcoming event, congratulations. In fact, today is the first week of, tomorrow starts the first week of World In-Track Week. So it begins every first week of November for every year. So please remember that it's a recurring event. So World In-Track Week is celebrated during the first week of every November. So please announce to all your individual in-track clubs, especially for the Rotarian advisors, youth service directors. Activities can be held all week long. It's not just one day. Some sample activities I think have been sent out in the youth service directors WhatsApp group, but can share a couple of things right now. If you have any good sessions, you can actually key into the chat session. And some sessions can be like for recruitment, for awareness. Some clubs will do like virtual online, meet the instructor, what's it like to be an instructor, meet a Rotarian, what is it Rotary all about. They will do sessions on awareness about what is Rotary, the history of Rotary. Just so you know that the first in-track club was actually established on the 5th of November, not 2020, 1970, something like that. Melbourne High School in Florida State, right? So as for online CMCO in Klang Valley, please ensure online activities only because we will still be in the middle of the CMCO. But other state clubs can proceed with activities, although with discretion, if you like, especially the states like Perak, Penang. For those who feel safe, again, I say with discretion. So I leave it to the youth service directors and the Rotary advisors or the clubs to decide how they want to run. So the World In-Track Week should be something. So please share all your activities on our district Facebook page. Share it on your Facebook pages or your social media also, so we can get an inkling of it. And also please remember that the World In-Track Week can also comply for activities, can be eligible for the Best In-Track Club Award, especially for when we decide on the district awards for at the end of the term. Right. The District In-Track Assembly, Rotary Year 2020-21, hosted by the Rotary Club Petaling Jaya this year. Right. It will be on the 30th, 31st of March and 1st April. It's not April Fool's, we can actually do some April Fool's thing also. Why is this starting so late in March? Because number one, the Ministry of Education was quite late in coming out with the takwim or the school calendar for next year. And this is the date that was applicable because they will start school very late next year because of the late beginning for SPM. The venue is yet to be confirmed. We already have a venue already, but this is to be confirmed because of the COVID situation. The theme this year is In-Track Leads the Way. This was actually a vote done by a couple of, we sent a couple of teams out to instructors and a couple of Rotarians also, right? And the instructors actually like this one because they feel that during the COVID, In-Track actually led the way for many projects. So I think they will be more empowered to choose their own team. Now, due to the COVID-19 situation, District Trainer Kiran J and myself, as the organizing chairperson, and together with the host youth service director, Rotary Anusha from Rotary Club Petaling Jaya, we've already had a very long, in-depth discussion about how we will proceed with this due to COVID-19 situation. the host club RCPJ, or Rotary Club Petaling Jaya, is of the decision that a physical face-to-face session, of course, is the priority. But in the event that the COVID cases cannot go down to a more manageable or even a safe level, we will go for a backup online session, right? If this continues in 2021, right? We are still undergoing engaging with stakeholders, which is schools, principals, and parents. But so far, the consensus with a couple of parents and some instructors and some schools have indicated to us that they are quite apprehensive with engaging in a face-to-face interact assembly. So I would also like to hear your thoughts on this towards the end of the session, this particular session later. When we have a short, maybe 15-minute break, we can actually share some of your thoughts about this, and we'll rediscover this later again. Some good news, I'd like to welcome a new Interact Club. Welcome to the Interact family, the Interact Club of Chonghua Independent High School in Kota Baru. They are sponsored by the Rotary Club of Kota Baru, and I find it amazing that a lot of clubs can still find the space and the ability and the initiative to be able to form new Interact Club. So congratulations to President Sam Chin and his team on forming the Interact Club of Chonghua Independent High School. They are sponsored by Rotary Club of Kota Baru, chartered in September 2020. Right? Interestingly enough, the school is actually 1 hour away from Kota Baru. So it's an interesting challenge for Sam's team to be able to sponsor. And so far, they've managed to actually do their duties, which we'll discuss later as Interact advisors. Updates on change of terms, right? As you know, I think I saw just now Rotarian Anthony South from BKS talking to Bernard about the change of terms. The feedback from the various Rotary clubs have reported the following. I've spoken to quite a number of them already, from some in Penang, some in Perak, and East Coast, and also implementation of the new term is going well, with most Interact clubs already prepared. The only hiccups would be trying to figure out how to fit in the Form 4 and Form 5 into next term. I think that's the bigger headache. But as we mentioned, as I think Bernard mentioned just now, I think I echo and agree with his terms just now. It's a blessing of disguise that the MCO is happening and the COVID-19 is happening right now. It actually gives us some space and some time to be able to implement this properly. Right? So we have some time to do this. For those people who are not familiar with this change of term, especially the newer Rotarians who are here today, this was actually an initiative that has been long in trying to come to fruition for many years. Many PDGs or many DGs in the past have tried to do this, and I think they set the groundwork. IPDG Leo was the one that initiated this in his term, and we've gotten the consensus from not only the PDG's council but also the district committee, right, to implement this in district governors KSTOs here, to fully move from the traditional Rotary year term of starting in July to June, for the interactors to start their term in January, right? I've spoken to a lot of schools. The Ministry of Education is actually of the mind that they are very happy with this decision. It will finally sync Interact's calendar with the school calendar. And this is one of the interesting things that we can look forward to see next year how it works out. So in 2 months' time, we'll see how it works out. International schools, for example, I think Assistant Governor Max from RT Sumbat has indicated to me that they have two international schools that commence school in September, right? So that one, they are free to use back the Rotary year term of July. That's fine because they don't start in January. So for those Rotary clubs that have international schools that start school in September, right? You with discretion, you are allowed to. You can allow them to continue their Rotary term in July, right? I think that's a couple of things. The only thing is how they would like to do joint projects in the ICC. We will need to work that out. Those are small little things we need to think about, right? The Rotary, our Interact committee, like for example, Bernard is here today, all right, will be available for any assistance on the matter, right? We are all inside the Youth Services Directors Group. If anyone has any query, please contact us there. Now, communications to your individual schools are at your discretion and should be done formally. So it's better that I've been getting some feedback from some schools that called me personally that I'm quite familiar with, that it is the instructors that are informing them of the change of new term. not the Rotarian advisor. I feel that's not a proper channel. The news of this particular move from the new term should be done from the Rotarian advisor to the teacher advisor. Right? Please don't go through the ICC or your Interact president. So it's better that you address and engage with the school directly. You can call them if they are apprehensive about guests coming into the school. You can call them or email them. At least if you need any materials to explain this situation, we have a set of documents that I posted in the WhatsApp group before. If you need any, I will repost it again after today, so you can pass it on to the schools to explain the whole situation. All right. So other than that, I'll take any further questions later after this session before we move into the ILTS session. Right. Now, some of the considerations for the Interact leadership for the change of term is one of the suggestions is to allow Interact clubs to allow Form 2s to join Interact and probationers, because the international RI mandate for Interact is 13 to 16. Right. So, or 13 to 17, sorry. And they are allowed to be able to join from 13 onwards. Some schools in our district already allow Form 1s and Form 2s to join Interact. They are allowed to stay as probationers until they reach Form 3, right? So interestingly enough, this has allowed, we've seen the trend is that the schools that allow Interactors to join in Form 2 tend to are more better prepared for BODs to come in for Form 4, especially with the new change of Interactor. PAG Brahma from Rotary of Subang has already emphasized a lot. He's trying to push our district side to get them the materials. Yes, we already have the handbook. He's ready for collection to PAG Brahma at the Rotary Center. They want to conduct their ILTS very soon already. So it will be the best time right now in November and December to conduct either your online or face-to-face Interact leadership training seminar for the board directors to take office in January, right? Probationer seminar can also take place in January already after they do recruitment. As you can see, it makes a lot of sense for the school to start their Rotary term, Interact clubs to start their Rotary term in the Interact term in January, because the school starts all the activities and their recruitment in January. And after the recruitment, they can automatically have these probationers join, and we can immediately organize this probationer seminar already, right? So that's it. So on the next thing is the District Interact Handbook. Right, it's ready. Since the last time I spoke to you, the last time I spoke to you, it was still in printing form. It is now available. It is available at the Rotary Center. Right, the handbook has already been printed. We have 1,000 copies. The handbook has started distribution to all clubs. Right. Let me reiterate again. Each Interact club will receive 1 copy, as well as 1 copy for each Rotary club. So say, for example, the Rotary Club of Petaling Jaya has 5 clubs, 5 Interact clubs. They will receive 5 handbooks plus 1 for the Rotary Club to keep. Right. So if your club has 2, so you get 3. So please make sure that the individual Interact clubs will get 1 copy and keep 1 copy for your club itself for safekeeping for use with the Youth Service Director. Additional copies can be purchased from the Rotary Center at $10, 10 ringgit a piece. You can contact, if you already gotten yours and you need more and you want more, you can contact Miss Patricia at the Rotary Center or call me directly. You can arrange to go and pick up and pay the money directly to the Rotary Center. I believe now the District 3300 portal allows you to purchase it online also. Right? Areas already distributed too. I'd like to thank a few people for helping me push it over there. PAG Danny and a few others that helped me. Para clubs have all received theirs already. The Metro Ipoh people, like for example, in the main Ipoh towns and also the outskirts like Teluk Intan and also a few places, and have already received theirs also. The typing clubs have already received already, so that's covered for Perak. Negeri Sembilan, my district Interact committee, Christina, has already passed on to Negeri Sembilan. Other clubs are in the process until it was interrupted by the CMCO. So we're trying to find the most efficient way to do it. I would like to ask for your cooperation. If you like to go and collect it yourself, you're in the neighborhood vicinity of the Rotary Center, right? You can actually go and receive can collect it yourself, right? Okay, Interact Handbook available in digital copy, right? It is not available in digital copy due to copyright issues by the editor, which is PDG Poly, right? So it is now only available in print copy, right? So that's to answer that question, since you're on the related on that topic, right? We are trying to find out a better way to be able to put this on digital format. That will be for future, either towards the end of the term or for the next term when the next youth director takes over. So before the next session is pretty much another session on the responsibilities of what Intract is all about. And today we actually have a few new Rotarian advisors here, and also some people from who are new to this also. And some of you are the ones who actually requested to me to actually redo this session again. And I would like to thank you for giving me all this feedback. You didn't manage to attend the session the last time on this session. So what is the session about? Basically on how to manage Intract clubs. And I think this will take up until around 3:30. And then we'll continue on to how do you organize the ILTS. And I'll give you some templates. Now, this is how the session, the thing looks like. So this is actually one of it. So managing Intract clubs. Now, what are the duties of a Rotarian advisor is a very important thing. Now, especially for our RC Kota Baru Rotarians who are here today, if you are here today, that the responsibilities of a Rotarian advisor is actually very big. As I mentioned just now, it's quite surprising for a school teacher who's a teacher advisor or the principal of a school to hear news from the Intractors rather than from a Rotarian advisor, especially for news related to Rotary. So hence why I emphasize a lot that it's very important for the Rotarian advisor to have a very good relationship with the teacher advisors and the school, because as you know, Malaysia actually, District 3300 is actually one of the most active and has one of the most numbers of Intract clubs from around the world. And we pride ourselves with the fact that we have a very good command of our Intract clubs. So the duties of the Rotary advisor is actually very important. And I like to say that the duties of a Rotary advisor is actually you are ambassador. You are the linkage between Rotary to the school. And because when we started Intract many years ago in the 60s and 70s, we parked the Intract clubs under the school system with the Ministry of Education. Hence, our major stakeholder is actually with the Ministry of Education. So hence, we need to engage with them every time. And you are basically a liaison between Rotary and the school and the Intract club. You are not just as a representative of your sponsoring Rotary club, you are also representing Rotary International and our district as a whole. So it will be nice also sometimes that you can update the school, especially for activities that are district related. There may be sometimes there are some activities that the school would like to have, and maybe the school would also like to be kept in touch with what are the things that's been happening with So please attend your Intract club general and board meetings as much as possible, right? We have had complaints from schools before of Rotarian advisors being absent for long periods of time, right? And when I say long periods of time, I'm not talking about a few weeks or a few months or just 1 or 2 meetings. We're talking about years. I recently had to, as district Intract chair, one of my job is to basically to maintain the relationship. And occasionally, unfortunately, one of the things is to do spot checks. We have had some emails forwarded directly to the district email complaining about the lack of participation from or representative from the Rotarian advisors. So I'd like to reiterate again the responsibilities of your club for sponsoring your Intract club, that you need to regularly update and attend your Intract club's general and board meetings. Please, the choice of a Rotarian advisor is so important also. We'll talk about that later. Please also, the Rotarian advisor needs to update the youth service committee about anything that's happening in school, especially for meetings and projects. Especially now with COVID, I'm sure that your individual Rotary clubs can contribute something to your individual schools. If I'm not wrong, there are a couple of Rotary clubs here in our district who have worked together with their schools during the lockdown to enable kids who have parents who are affected by retrenchment and a lack of income because of the MCO, CMCO, and also the COVID-19 to get meals, to be able to afford the start of school for next year, right? So that's only possible if the Rotary Club is kept abreast with what's happening with the school. I believe some of your clubs have Rotary sponsorships and scholarships. It will also be very important for you to engage with the school directly, with the counselors, with the student affairs, or what we call the HEM, the How Everyone Will Read principles. And also, most importantly, be the source of Rotary and Interact information. I'm very surprised sometimes that a lot of Interact clubs are still using the old 4-ring Interact logo, which has been disused for many years now already. So you can get the new Interact logo. You can actually see that the Interact logo is actually that logo on the bottom right corner. That's actually the proper Interact logo that is supposed to be used by all Interact clubs, not the old 4-ring, like sort of looking like the Olympic ring logo, right? You can find those logo in the brand center, right? And that's why you can get them anytime, right? So you need to be the source of Rotary and Interact information. A lot of them don't use the proper Rotary logo in their posters. Please make sure you correct them. And this is only possible if the Rotarian advisors is present during all these meetings. So please make sure that you're ambassador to your schools. Most importantly, because of our relationship with the school, we also have to deal with parents and also with the schools. Right, so get to know your principals and teacher advisors. For the newer Rotary clubs that have new Interact clubs, it would be nice to actually do like a simple makan session, get together, right, with your teacher advisors, the principals. What the Rotary Club of Petaling Jaya does every year, we actually have a teachers dialogue, right, where we invite the teacher advisors and the principal and any stakeholders from the school to attend a little informal makan session. Right, and we sit down with them and work out all the communication problems, any disciplinary problem if there is. For example, during one of our sessions, we actually found out that our interactors have been pulling the wool over both the school and also the Rotary advisors' eyes in terms of permissions to conduct their meetings. They told us that the school does not permit outsiders to enter the school. We believe that. They told the teacher advisors that Rotarians only want to meet us at McDonald's, right, or at an outside place or mall, right? So when we thought that everything is okay until we met the teachers, and the teachers accused us of making our students travel to McDonald's, and we said that we have never said such thing, and in fact the students have told us that you want us to meet there. So it turns out that we've been lied to each other. So actually these sessions are actually quite good to air out all these little grievances and settle down the issues, the misconception and everything. Recently, there have been some cases. I'm sure that you're aware of it. Some clubs are aware of it, and I'm aware of it. I think we're all aware of this. This has been going on for a long time. Is the perception and the myth and realities of what Rotary is in the eye of the public, with regards to us being anti or what a Zionist or Jewish or Christian movement or organization, right? Hence, a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication or misconception about what the role of Rotary or the history of Rotary is all about. And this has actually caused a lot of Interact clubs to either be closed down or are getting some issues and some problems dealing with the school authorities. So that's why it's very important for you to be out there, talk to the teacher advisors, talk to the principals, engage with them and share with them that Rotary, what is it all about, and all the misconceptions about what Rotary is all about. Inside the Interact Handbook, District Interact Handbook, actually is a major one chapter that addresses all the myths of Rotary. For example, Rotary is a Christian organization and is non-secular, is religious related. So these are things for you to say to them. So it's a good handbook for you to be able to tell them that we are not a Christian or religious organization, right? For more cordial relationship, pay courtesy calls to the school principal. Brief them on Rotary Interact activities. Tell them about the Rotary activities. They might also want to get involved. They might be one of your major stakeholders also. That's also interesting, right? And maybe seek their views on Interact club activities, right? That's also important. It would be nice for you to provide news and information about Rotary in your club. Give them your club bulletin. like for example, if I see a lot of Rotary clubs sharing their club newsletters on the e-groups, the Google e-groups, right? I would like also that you can also forward those digital copies of your bulletins to the school also. At least they are kept up to date with all these things, right? Provide them with even give them back copies of the Rotarian magazine also. We have lots of these Rotarian magazines lying around. Some of them have already read them and everything. And now we also get digital copies as well. It would be nice to actually give them a copy of the Rotarian magazine. And what we do also is we actually invite our principals and the teacher advisors to our club meetings and fellowships, installation, international nights, even our anniversary dinners, and to allow them to be able to experience what Rotary is all about. A lot of people always tell me that it's so hard to get them, but if you try opening up and communicating with them, I think that's one. If you need any assistance from the district in terms of engaging with the school, you can get my help and my assistance or my team anytime assistance. I have several Interact committee members. I'll explain later. They cover several areas around our district, right? And because of our duties to the Ministry of Education, we must engage our parents also in the communications loop, right? We need to, what we also do quite well is what we started a few years ago under my term as a youth service director was we wrote letters of congratulations when a student has become an instructor or a board director. And we tell them to parents of the instructor or board director, we congratulate you on your child being an instructor. Being an instructor is a very immense responsibility and privilege. Tell them about it, to explain to them about things like this. So it would be nice to actually engage parents on these things, right? We also encourage our parents to give us feedback, especially during COVID-19 when the MCO was first announced. We actually engaged with a lot of our parents to seek their advice on everything. So that's also quite interesting for us to get also. Rotarian Pushpa is talking about IYE also, so I think that's also interesting thing. Now, the duties of the Interact Club is to basically attend their meetings, right? In the Interact Constitution bylaws, right, and the Rotarian advisor must attend board meetings. If not, the board meeting for that Interact Club is null and void. It cannot be accepted. So the people that needs to attend District 3300 Interact Club board meeting is the teacher advisor, at least one teacher advisor, at least one Rotarian advisor, and a quorum of the Interact board. Or not, advise them on their club activities, projects, right? The best example will be to guide them, right? To advise them, right? And also lead by example. So if the Rotary advisor doesn't attend board meetings, the board directors don't feel they need to also attend board meetings also. So I think that's also a responsibility to the Interact Club, right? Encourage them, motivate them, right? Just like how we manage our Rotarians, never belittle them, especially in the open, right? Reprimand or advise the leaders only at board meetings, not at general meetings in front of the members, right? But I feel that the most important one that has been very successful in terms of the consensus we get from all the Rotary advisors is to be available to them. It's very discouraging when you join Interact and they can't get support. Through case study, I will not name the Rotary Club. I also will not name the Interact Club also. This was brought to me because a friend of a friend who's a teacher advisor for Interact Club asked me, Nicholas, I heard that you are in Rotary. Can you help me become my Rotarian advisor? I said, I can't do that. I don't know who your sponsoring Rotary Club is. I cannot just be a Rotarian advisor. I said, we have not seen our Rotarian advisor for more than 5 years. right? And I get a shock of my life. I say, 5 years. So how have your club been doing it? I say, we've been running things. I said, have you have projects? They have been running successful fundraising and service projects every year for the past 5 years, even without the help of a Rotarian advisor. But they have no use of the Rotary logo because they don't even know who their Rotarian, their sponsoring Rotary club. They don't even know what is Rotary all about. They don't even know what Interact started in, and there's no basic Interact information. So to me, that's quite shocking to them because, basically we've already bypassed or broke every rule when it comes to sponsoring an Interact club, right? If you are of this is a district position, and let me share with this right now, and I won't mince my words on this. If your Rotary club finds yourself unable because of membership difficulties or time or resources that you cannot manage your Interact club, that you're unable to do so, please contact us directly and we will find a suitable sponsoring club, right, to take over or to do a transition over. It's not a penalization or anything, it's just for the benefit of the Interact club. They need proper guidance and they need proper assistance in terms of getting the Interact club off the ground. So they reported directly to me. I had no choice but to report to then Interact chair, right? And he had taken issue with the school and also with the sponsoring club. And now the Rotary advisor is regularly visiting every month already, right? So I will hope that this session again plays another important part to remind you about your role as a sponsoring club, that the Interact club needs to be tended to. Like a garden, the lalang will grow, the wild weeds will grow everywhere. You need to tend to the garden. So the interactors need regular guidance and everything, right? Let the Interact club leaders plan and execute. Let them plan themselves. Don't give them projects, right? The district is of the position that we should never provide financial support to help in fundraising. During the last this online district conference and also the first room and second room sessions, we had a little engagement session in terms of what constitutes financial support, right? And we came to the consensus that outright donation or giving money to the club is actually a no-no, right? It should be prohibited. But there is some leeway in terms of matching sponsorships or matching grants. So say, for example, Interact Club pledges to raise $5,000 for an orphanage of a COVID-19 frontliner project, then the Rotary Club may, or the Rotarian advisor or the Rotary Club may match their 5,000 with a matching grant to make it 10,000. So that's a few examples of some good funding ideas, but please do not give them financial support outright, right? You can guide them in terms of providing them the avenue to be able to do their fundraising, but please do not give them money as handouts, right? Yes, we do realize some Rotarian advisors and some Rotary clubs have the means and have the kitty to be able to support the clubs, but it is we do not want our interactors to have a sense of entitlement when they say. And also it's going to be a very interesting thing where later on say for example Rotary Club Putrajaya has 5 clubs, right? And say a Rotary advisor gives one of our schools, Rotary Club of Sri Aman Girls School, the Rotary advisor gives them $1,000 for this project. And during the ICC, another club say, oh, you know that our Rotary advisor gives 1,000. Then they'll start going back to the youth service director and say, how come Sri Aman gets 1,000 and our Rotary advisor doesn't give, right? So the Rotary advisor for Sri Aman may be an entrepreneur, she's a businesswoman or he's a businessman, she can provide the money. But the Rotary advisor for another school is a government servant who may not have the funds. He's an active Rotarian but may not have the funds to be able to provide. So this creates a disparity between how we treat our Interact clubs. So please warn your Rotary advisors against having this kind of habit to give handouts to the school. Yes, we know you want to support them, but please do so in a responsible manner. Duties to our interactors. Interact, as a former interactor myself, Interact is a fantastic avenue for personal development and personal growth. So please allow them to learn and improve. So that's why this session is so important, to allow us to be responsible to learn how important the role of a Rotary advisor is. every project organized or every activity attended is a learning opportunity, right, for our interactors, right, and inspire learning and personal development. Leadership training, allow them to plan and execute their training, guide them, allow them to take the lead, right? And also it's actually good for them to have organizational skills, right? As for publicly, now that we have the new Rotary Toastmasters program, I'm not very sure what is the current status and update of that. We are still waiting for the district about what is the current status of how do we have access to this Toastmaster program. But we would like to also have a public speaking. So I mean, I think all Rotarians have learned public speaking in some way or another in our club activity. So it'd be nice to also encourage them. One disturbing trend that we saw in Rotary Club Petaling Jaya, and now also encouragingly, I also heard from a lot of other clubs also, is that our interactors like to spend money to hire an outside MC to MC their major events like the IU days and their installations and everything. I always tell them, I say, the moment I see that, I'm very upset about it, because it's a fantastic avenue for your members to learn public speaking, to be an MC and to maybe speak in public. By hiring people which we know that you can, even though that maybe say, for example, MC is sponsoring or MC is giving a discount, but that does not discount the fact that you're actually losing a valuable learning opportunity for an interactor to learn how to do public speaking and MC skills. So that's why it's important for us to be able to use this as a very good avenue for public speaking, right? And encourage them to be MCs, so I care for others and instill in them caring and sharing, expose them to service above self and others also, not just words, but actions as Rotarians yourself. So please bear in mind about Rotarians. For if you need these slides later on, I can get that, right? I'm going to address a couple of questions right now, if you can type them. All right, what's the reason for invalidating the Interact BOD meeting when the Rotary is not present for the meeting? There are many reasons why. Number one, okay, for the most obvious answer to Rotary Anthony, thank you so much. Mr. Pinto, thank you so much for that question. Is number one, it's in the bylaws. That's the most obvious answer. But the second most obvious answer is because number one, the district wants the Rotary advisors there to be present to listen to the interactors, to listen to the school and to listen to objections from the school and objections or feedback from the Interact Club, so that the Rotary advisor can report back to their individual youth service committees, and the youth service director will then report back to the respective board directors for anything that's happening with the school. For example, right, if the board directors, if the Rotary advisor is not present at the board meeting, right, there can be a major issue in terms of if there are major matters cropping up in the school. For example, there have been complaints about interactors attending sessions outside of school that was sanctioned by the Rotary Club, when the Rotary Club did not sanction it at all, right? Now, this is Rotary Club's reputation at hand, right? And also exposure of our young kids to risk and also to harm. So that becomes a very important factor when it comes to why we need to have that session on for the Rotary advisor to be at the board meeting, right? The third reason is also to show, like I mentioned as the last point, to show that you are there. Yes, we have cases of the club actually falsifying their secretary's report to say that yes, Rotary advisor came, right? And when we dig a little bit more, actually the Rotary advisor didn't come, right? When we asked them, I said, how do you feel? I said, we all came, teacher advisor came, but Rotarian just didn't have the time for us. So when you hear kids say things like this, it actually feels quite discouraging, because when you hear them, it's like, look, we are the adults in the room. We are supposed to be the guide to these people, to the interactors. And when we don't play our responsibilities to that, and I think that's very important for us to be able to work on that. I think that's pretty much it. Is Rotary Club responsible for funding DIA attendance by Interact BOD? No, it's not responsible, but there are clubs out there that do sponsor them, right? Rotary Club Petaling Jaya, we actually do sponsor our DIA participants only for transportation, to assist them for transportation. So the bus to and for a pickup point to the venue, and from the venue back to the pickup point, that's the only involvement that, like for example, my club does for Rotary Club Petaling Jaya. Some subsidize the DIA fee. So like last year, the DIA fee is 250. So maybe the Rotary Club subsidizes $50 for each participant. That's also something they can think about. So it's up to you, right? But if let's say you have a small club, you have only one intra club, and you maybe have 2 or 3 people coming, and you don't mind sponsoring them for the entire, and they are a new club and they may not have the funds. They want to do a fundraiser, maybe encourage them to do a fundraising, right? Or maybe outright sponsor them. I think that's there's no hard and fast rule about this. So so Rotarian Pinto, that's for your benefit. I think that's the one that we mentioned, right? Core board members, right? So
yeah, what we do, Nicholas, is we let them know that we have a certain amount of budget for DIA, and we tell them it's up to you to decide how many you want to go. And if the DIA is 250, then of course, you know, our budget is normally about $1,000, so 4 can go. But if 8 want to go, they just pay the balance. So
I mean, that's fine. You can tell them. That's what I said. If the Rotary advisor doesn't attend the board meetings, they can't tell the board that, oh, look, DIA is coming up soon, right? The fee is 250. RCBKS has a fund of maybe 1,000. So that 1,000 we use for your school, how you want to use it, how many members, then we split it among how many people, right? Or you give them the option. We don't give them the option. We just tell them that look, it's going to be paid for yourself, but we only subsidize the transportation, right? But of course, some of our Rotarians chip in for snacks and drinks, right, on the buses and everything. So there's separate things. Those are separate things that we do. So, but I leave it. There's no hard and fast rule.
Yeah, because we monitor it pretty closely anyway, you know. But coming back to that question about the board meeting, I need to check again, because for as long as I've been in the club for the last 7 years, I know that we've never attended their board meetings in the school simply because the school does not allow us to get on premises during that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But we communicate so regularly with the teacher advisor and the Interact board that it didn't seem to be an issue at all, because they get involved in a lot of projects all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
I believe in that case, I think if let's say that if you mention it that way, if you are in regular contact and the school has issues about outsiders coming in, I think that's okay. My concern is only when, especially for clubs that don't attend or don't communicate at all. But if your Rotary advisors are in constant communication, especially if the board, if the teacher advisor and the Rotary advisors are very close, and that's fine, right? The main concern for the district on this matter is very simple: communication and making sure that there is coordination of information, because we don't want to make sure that, especially now that safety is a very important thing, and now with COVID-19, parents are also very concerned about activities being held outdoor. So the proper protocol SOPs are being met for activities. So hence why now the importance of it. So again, there is the encouragement that why we use that rule is because that we have had cases where Rotary advisors completely disappear from the intra club. So hence why we are.
The idea that it's an invalidation of the board meeting. What are the consequences for the intra club? You see.
There's no consequence in it only. It's just more or less to tell them, okay, look. Also, again, I forgot about this. Why we invalidate it is mainly not so much for the Rotarian advisor, but for the intractors themselves. Why? We have had cases of intractors, of Rotarians telling us that they never tell us when is the board meetings. And we don't attend. And we don't know anything. So we also tell the intractors, look, we will invalidate your secretary's report if you don't inform your Rotarian advisor. We have cases of, and also it's teaching them simple manners and simple decorum. If you are going to be having a Rotary, your intract board meeting, please do a proper due diligence and proper manners to at least inform the Rotary advisor 1 to 2, not months, 1 to 2 weeks, at least give them a head start in terms of planning their schedule, so a Rotarian can attend. We have cases of instructors telling us, oh, Rotarian advisor didn't attend. And when we query with the Rotary advisor, I said, I wasn't aware that I needed to attend because I wasn't told there was a board meeting. I was free that day. So hence, it's a he say, she say, hearsay kind of thing. So in the end, we just tell them, look, it's your responsibility, number one, teacher advisor must attend, Rotary advisor must attend, right? Or we invalidate, right? It's not so much to punish the Rotary Club per se, but to also give sort of like a intrinsic kind of warning to the instructors to please be responsible to make sure that your Rotarian advisors are attending the board meetings. At least they know what's happening, because you don't want a case where instructors are doing their project outside, something happens to them, and then it gets reported back to the Rotary Club that, hey, the parent complained, and the Rotary Club just hears about this project. And when they ask the youth service director says, I'm not sure, I didn't know about this. Kantoi. All right. Then they go back to the Rotary advisor is gonna bamboo and say, hey, I didn't attend any board directors meeting because I wasn't told there was. Right. Then when we do the trace back, it turns out that the Rotary advisor was never informed or never invited for the board directors meeting, the board meeting. So that's why it's very important, because number one, we have to realize that we are dealing with young people. They may have overlooked, but we also must make sure that this is something that we've done for many years already. We always make sure that the Rotary advisors are always in constant contact with the school. Right? But you need to, the instructors and the students need to take that responsibility to make sure that the Rotary advisor is on board on this. Right? Actually, there's actually a new thing that's coming up on, just to share with you. We got this a few days ago. We haven't ratified it in to make sure that it's full. There is now, if you know, our district actually has a district safety officer. Right? Basically, they take care of the safety of our youth. That's the main point of contact in the district, right? For any cases involving safety of our youth, road track and in-track. Right? This year, the position I think is empty, but the individual chairs are the safety officers. So if there is any incident that happened to in-tractor, please report them. For road track, please report it to District Road Track Chair Kelvin Hu, and for in-track to me directly. Right? But it also be nice to actually have a Rotarian advisor or in your youth service committee to be a designated youth safety officer, someone that can have an emergency contact to be able to respond to these kind of things. Yes, youth protection guide. Yes, Major Francis, thank you so much for posting this. He just posted RI's youth protection guide. There's even a youth protection course inside the RI's Learning Center. I would advise that everyone go there and get yourself certified under the Rotary International's Learning Center. Right? It's called the Youth Protection Guide. There's actually a youth protection, what do you call it, course for you to attend. So that's generally it. I think other than that, I think the most importantly is to, right now in this COVID-19 situation, it's very important for us to just keep the channels open. Some schools have actually worked with some Rotary clubs right now to help them with the COVID-19 spread. Right? Some Rotary clubs I heard have also contributed, like the standing thermometers for schools to ease the entrance into the school, contribution of masks. I heard of some Rotary advisors and some Rotary clubs sponsoring fogging of the school before school starting. Right, sanitation, sanitizing solutions and wipe down. Some Rotary advisors have also gone into the school to wipe down the school. Right, so these are individual things that you can do during this time. Right, and I think it's very important for us to remind that. I would like to ask, open it to the floor if anyone has any questions about in-track week, the DIA. I'd like to also hear your comments about the in-track assembly. What are I've already engaged stakeholders in terms of parents and teachers and also the principals. I'd like to hear also from Rotarians, what are your thoughts for physical district in-track assembly if it's held next year at the end of March?
March is not too early, is it? I mean, it all depends on the situation then, right? But I think youth definitely prefers physical, huh?
I mean, although I can't say I'm biased because I'm from the host club, but the host club's committee itself do favors a physical session. but we also like to hear what the Rotarians think. Right? The situation may get better, it may get worse, we don't know. So, and what we hear from the parents is that they are 50-50. The parents are actually 50-50, but we are still doing more engagement. So far, the engagement we have are from Klang Valley schools. If anyone, my other in-check committees will assist with me getting more feedback from the other schools in the outskirts, right? From Rotarian Paley, we prefer physical session or just postpone until physical session can be done. Okay, PDG, Kiran, district trainer, do prefer physical also, but if we can do an online session just to supplement it for a while until you get a physical session, that could be something. Yes, Hugh?
Nicholas, could I just ask you a question while you're on it? Thank you very much for holding this. I found it very, very useful indeed, being a new recruit, as you mentioned. And I would appreciate if you could send those slides to me as well. It's very good.
Sure.
What do you call that I'm facing at the moment, Nicholas? I'd like your advice is that we have 2 Interact clubs, but are obviously a bit dormant, as it were. I have been, in my capacity, new, as it were, to try to make contact with the headmistress of both schools, actually. And we had, I wouldn't say a cordial meeting, a reasonable one then, you know, because I could feel that there was a lot of reluctance. And obviously they're using the pandemic and everything, obviously, as a very good tool at the moment to put up a little bit of a barrier, but without being obstinate, if you know what I mean. Okay. What sort of advice would you give for us? How do you think we can try to, how can I say, penetrate as well, and to try and get this? Because unfortunately, even before my time, I think they've been dormant for about 12 months or so, what I can gather, because there's no information. Now, when I went to see them, they said that last year they were very active, but I can't verify that at the moment. And I think some of the guidelines that you put down today is very, very useful. So in future, we will know for a fact what goes on and what doesn't go on, sort of thing then, you know. So I'm just asking you, how is best to keep approaching this? Because now, of course, we had that problem with the epidemic. Then, of course, now we come to the exam situation then, you know, and then they say, no, that comes first. And I understand all that, you know, understandably, if I was a parent, I would want that to happen. But how do we continue, you know, without being, how can I say, a thorn in the side then? But yes, I suppose we have to be to a degree. But what I'm trying to say, how can we do it in a diplomatic way so we can get a commitment?
Thank you. You can say pain in the butt also. I think that's fine. So, I think it's fine. But Hugh, thank you so much. I know, Hugh, you've been so nice. You call me out, and please, every time you call me up, you keep on apologizing. Please don't apologize. It's what I do. And anytime you have any problems or any things, you can call me up, or even you can talk to John also. And okay, for this, I think it's a matter of, if you say that it's only been dormant or been quite dormant for 12 months, there are a couple of things that you might want to take into consideration is maybe perhaps number one, it could be exams, it could be situation in the school, it could also be COVID, right? That the reluctance. You might want to dig deeper, like for example, okay, let me share with you a very interesting case that we are still working on. And that's what, and one of the biggest problems that we face is changing. I think most clubs here also have the problem, changing of teacher advisors. Right? Because we know the school system rotates very often. Teacher advisors teachers get bounced from one school to another school district to another school. So sometimes you may be looking at one teacher advisor one time or principal one time, and the next day you're going to another one already. We have had one school that has had a freeze on intra activities for Form 3. Only Form 3. Form 2, there's no Form 2s. They have Form 3s. They allow their Form 4s and Form 5s to do interact, but they put a complete ban and freeze on Form 3s in participating in interact. And this has been a major situation we've been having for the past 4 years. After we made some major breakthroughs with them, with the principal, she retires. Now we have to start a brand new conversation with another principal, right? And so far it's been good again, right? Good. And how did this ban and freeze came about was only after proper digging that they said that the Form 3s were too involved in interact. It turns out it wasn't interact in the first place, it was another club that caused this problem. that created the ban. So when we explained it properly to them, we went down. In a way, we went down with our a bit more of a humble pie kind of mindset. Say, look, we understand this is one, students' activities are important, but we also tell them we have to say things that make sense to a teacher. For example, exams. So like for Form 3s, please be aware that we understand PT3 comes out in August and September. So for all Form 3s to stop all their activities, at least minimum by May or June, they should start getting ready for their Form 3 PT3 exams already. When you say these type of things, the teachers love hearing this type of thing, right? Because they can show that the Rotary advisor is aware of the situation. And I think number 2 is sometimes it's good to actually invite them to your club meetings, right? Extend the maybe dedicate one day of your meetings to meet up with teacher advisors and also principals. Maybe organize a meeting. If you have, I think if I'm not, RC9 is the dinner meeting, if I'm not, a nighttime meeting. So you can invite them after school to attend. Please come and have dinner with us. Maybe have them say a few words. Have the president thank them, right? And maybe you want to do a small little acknowledgement to show them. And maybe the night itself, let them experience how Rotarians are, how cordial we are. But of course, that night, if you have a Malay principal or Malay teacher advisor coming, please refrain from the alcohol that night. So, our normal meeting proceedings, right?
Yeah.
So maybe for that night, I think it won't be a big sacrifice if everyone just forgoes the alcohol for that night.
No,
we do engage our teachers. We invite the teacher advisors. We invite the principals to come. Yeah, I think those are good things to always. Like for example, getting them to attend like major school events, right? The officiating of a new school hall or major event, Rotary is there, right? Or if there's like, for example, do projects for the school. One good example is that we tied in one of our major clean water project with the school. So we implemented a clean water system in one of our schools, which is Catholic High School in PJ, right? So right now we've implemented with the help of back then our past president, right? And also then was past president Rian, now PAG Rian. We implemented a clean water system, rain collection system, where right now the school actually saves 60% of their school water bill by harvesting rainwater. Right? Oh. And they use it for watering the plants and cleaning the canteens and for general cleaning. So that's something that benefits the school, puts Rotary in a good light, and also builds up that social capital and that good friendship capital with the school. Right? So there are plenty of opportunities that are giving free. If you have a Rotarian who's a trainer or have some things that they want to share, talk to the school counselors and say that, hey, we have a Rotarian who does training in this area, or he likes to share about a certain career. Talk to the career guidance counselors in the school and maybe talk to them and say, hey, look, we are a couple of Rotarians who are very good in what they do. They are doctors, lawyers, or whatever, or vocational, right? And let them talk about, share their stories and everything, and treat that as a career day. So they say that it's together with the Intra Club and also the Rotary Club together. So that builds up more capital. I feel that the situation that we have right now with the misconception about Rotary being a Christian organization, a Jewish organization, a pro-Israel Zionist organization, and things like that, is because of the ignorance that we don't engage them enough and they don't know us enough, right? When we have quite a sizable, big number of population of Muslim and Malay Rotary members, and we still have these weird misconceptions and myths going around about Rotary and Interact, and we are trying to convert all the Interactors. We have had a school, I think in Klang Valley or somewhere in not Penang, I'm not sure. I think it's in, I'm not very sure, in Klang Valley, that does not allow Malay students to attend or join Interact clubs. Right? Because of the Christian nature of, supposedly Christian nature of Rotary. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I feel that that's also one of the few things that we need to go down and engage with them and say, look, right, if you have a Malay member, it would be nice also you're dealing with a Malay principal, bring them there to show, hey, look, we have a Muslim member. If he's a Muslim guy, he shouldn't be joining us. Right. So
no, that's very good.
If we have to play the pantomime, if we have to use that word. Right. And but the thing is awareness and education. So I hope that answers your question. I'll provide everything to you, Hugh. Right?
Great. Thank you for that, Nicholas. It's a good food for thought then. Thank you very much.
Hugh, a quick question. Hugh, are you managing both Intract and Rotary at the same time?
Yes.
Oh dear. Okay.
But the Interact, fair play, the Rotaract rather, are very, very, I mean, there's no real issues and they're very professional. They've been doing it for a while and they're very dedicated. There's a good team there, if you know what I mean. Maybe while I'm speaking to you, perhaps this is a little bit off the cuff, so please, you don't have to answer if you feel it's not relevant, is that I've always been a little bit concerned about this sort of fees that they want to introduce for the Rotaract clubs then, which I'm not
okay.
thing.
I understand about the Rotaract thing. We were supposed to actually have Kelvin attend this today. I think we couldn't fit in Rotaract. I think they're going to be having a separate Rotaract session on this particular fee and the new changes to Rotaract very soon. So I'll let Kelvin Koo handle that. He's the District Rotaract chair, right?
No,
so I think he can answer better. I will continue with the next session. You can please save your questions for one. So the next session right now is DIA, District Intract Assembly. The District Intract Assembly is something similar to our District Rotaract Conference, right, which we meet every year. And the Intractors basically meet in one place. It's hosted and organized by one Rotary Club. Right, this year is the Rotary Club Petaling Jaya. So that's where Intractors come to attend, meet with each other. They undergo some training, leadership training. They have a bit of fun. They do some team building activities. They get to do a lot of fellowship with Intractors from all around Malaysia, from different states. And actually, it's a very good opportunity for also Rotarians to meet up also sometimes. So that I hope that answers your question, Peli. Okay, our next session is basically on the handbook, right? Now, let me share with you, this is how the handbook looks like, right? Most of you have it, most of you don't have it yet, right? I apologize on behalf of the district committee because we've been having trouble getting it out because of the MCO, CMCO, and the physical distance, and we can only work on what we have when we have some AGs coming down from town. They can help us bring it back. I'm trying to arrange for Penang night to help us get it up to Penang also, right? If we have to, we will probably have to start covering it out very soon already because you might want to use it very soon in November for your ILTS. So this is the actual handbook. This handbook, or some of you may have a similar handbook that was produced by Rotary Club Pudu many years ago. It's blue in color. In fact, it looks like this. I actually have it, right? And it's actually a very interesting manual.
Nicholas, is it something like this?
Oh, no. That's the Intract Assembly. But actually, there's some components inside. There's the ILTS inside also.
Oh, okay. In that case, I don't have the handbook. Not
yet. I already said that Kuantan haven't get yet.
Okay.
Sureshan, if you know anyone from Kuantan coming down to Klang Valley, can you tell me?
At the moment, no one yet lah.
I mean, MCO, you can't come in anyway.
Yeah.
Alright, so Bruno, Sureshan, that's why I got your number. I want to talk to you separately later. So this was the original, how the Intract guidebook used to look like. If some of you from the historical side remember, this is actually here, right? Okay, Miss Peli. For Kota Baru has already received their manuals already, right? The day PDG Kiran has already passed Kota Baru's manuals to Sam directly, right? Now, this is the Intract handbook right now, right? Now, the Intract handbook this year is basically not just an ILTS manual, but a manual that is for Intract specifically. It explains a lot of things, and actually I'm going to go into it right now. Okay, so this session right now, to close this off later when we have to go back to the main room, using the District Intract handbook and also the first ILTS, especially for Peli, I think you are from ASI Kota Baru, you probably have to start to organize your first Intract leadership training seminar. Peli, you can get the manual from Sam. Sam has the manual already. PDG Kiran has already passed the manuals over for you for RCKB already. Okay, the District Intract handbook is basically a 2-in-1 handbook. It was commissioned during Rotary year 2019-2020 under IPDG Leo. All right. It was originally edited, it was created and also edited by PDG Poly and co-edited by myself. It's available in print edition only for now, right? And is to be made available for all Rotary clubs. Every Rotary club should be getting one copy, right? And the intra clubs also get one copy also, right? The components of the handbook, right? Now, before I go into the components of the handbook, basically the component of the handbook is very simple. There's two sides of it. One is the Intract handbook and one is the Intract leadership training seminar manual. So both of these things are inside your manual. So you're getting a two-in-one combo handbook for this particular handbook. So the first component is basically the Intract handbook, information about Intract clubs and how to manage them. Then the second one is all the templates and all the things that you need to use for the Intract leadership training seminar. So Rachel, you might want to show up that little that manual you got just now that you showed to us. Okay, that one also has the Intract leadership training seminar documents inside. Right, it was put in there for the purpose of the Intract assembly that was cancelled by Rotary Club Pudu. Right, so you actually have that copy. If you have that already, probably that you can use that also. Right. Okay. All right. Okay, the Intract handbook has chapters, the history of Rotary and Intract globally and locally. So it actually has actual pictures of Paul Harris, our founders, how the original Rotary logo looks like, how did a lonely businessman in Chicago started an organization that went around the world, what are our major objectives. We even have one section on contributions of Rotary in Malaysia, right? For example, the National Kidney Foundation, the National Autistic Federation, or association, all these things that have contributed to nation building, right? The mobile mortuary project, our wheelchair project, donation ambulances, Clinic Kebajikan Rotary, right? National Dyslexia Association, right? We also credit a lot of clubs like the Dyslexic Society by Ati Gombak, Alzheimer's Disease Foundation by Ati Shah Alam, National Heart Foundation by Rotary Club Kuala Lumpur, right? So we have lots of these things in there, and actually it's very good that when you pass this over to your teacher advisor, it gives them a very good view about what Rotary and Intract is all about. Right? It talks about the history of Intract, 28 October, right? 1962, but it was inaugurated, but the first club was actually in November, right? So the history is all there, right? The current logo, what's the logo, the 8 goals, misconception of Intract, the roles of each Intract board member, responsibilities of advisors, teacher and Rotarians. So this is good for teacher advisors also, right? Relationship between advisors and teacher and Rotarians, right? So so this is one of those, like for example, myth and misconception of Intract. Intract is affiliated with religion, anti-Islamic, or affiliated with the occult. Example, Judaism or Freemason, right? Now, then we reply that here. Intract, like Rotary, is a circular organization that opens its membership to all citizens of the world, regardless of sex, religion, creed, or race. There are Rotary clubs all around the world in each continent, right, representing each global citizen. And actually, we put there an interesting fact. In fact, in Malaysia, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is the royal patron of all Rotary clubs in Malaysia. Right? And through an act of parliament enshrined in our constitution, also all state sultans and state governors are also patrons of Rotary clubs all around the states. Right? And since the Yang di-Pertuan Agong sultan and governors are also head of Islam in their state, so how can they be royal patrons of Rotary if Rotary is anti-Islamic? So it's all in there. Right? So so lots of talking points, lot of talkback points. If let's say any of your teacher advisors push you on, hey, you know, Rotary is a Jewish organization, you know, I say, okay, one or two of the original founding members were Jewish, but doesn't mean that it's a Jewish organization, right? So that's the thing that we need to talk about, right? The second component is the ILTS manual, right? So it actually has a manual on how to plan the ILTS, the Intract Leadership Training Seminar. It has sample program and templates all inside. It has notes for each board member, right? So president has one separate notes, vice president, secretary, treasurer, youth service, IU director, com service director, they have all of it, even all the way down to sergeant arms, right? it may not have certain positions that some clubs have and some clubs don't have. Like for example, some clubs don't have a notice board or publicity director, right? So that one maybe I'll take it separately for a separate session, right? There are also some case studies in there, and we've updated the case studies for today's relevance and how to conduct the meeting guide. There's actually a guide on how to run a proper board meeting or proper general meeting. And there's also evaluation form template in there also. So once you get a hold of this, everything's in here, all right? We also included the appendix in there, the abuse and harassment reporting guidelines, the youth protection procedure, right? And on top of that, also all the bylaws for Interact are all inside here. So any policy related to Interact, right? The next component, why is it so important, we want to talk about today, the last portion of it and the last 15-20 minutes for this session is the Interact Leadership Training Seminar. Why is it so important? The ILTS is one of the first steps of training for any board of directors when they take office for the first time. And some clubs organize them, some clubs don't, right? The objective is basically to train the next incoming board of directors and to provide leadership training for board directors. And since now the new change of term is now in January, November and December will be a very good opportunity for you to conduct the training session. So I guess in terms of it right now, it's hard to do training physically, especially for the Klang Valley clubs, right? All of us are stuck in Selangor. So you might want to consider doing it either on Zoom. Because the numbers are small, the board directors are not very big, right? You can consider doing it on Zoom, right? Or if the other clubs out in the other states, in like Kota Baru or in Perak or in Penang, if your numbers are small enough, you can still maintain social distancing, right? And all the individual protocols and SOPs, and I mean to make sure that it's safe and everything. But please make sure that you adhere to the SOPs. So I'm going to share with you today what is a successful ILTS, right? Now, ILTS can really make or break a board, and it really depends on how well you manage these ILTS. Now, an effective ILTS normally have these components, and this is actually a collection of different best practices from a lot of different clubs that have organized them. One of them is the preparation between the Rotary and Interact clubs, right? Typically, ILTS is normally done at a school, right? Or if your school actually has your Rotary club has a like clubhouse or venue that you go to, you can use that. But in most cases, it's always nice to actually have it in a school because you give the particular host school the opportunity to organize something and let them have some kind of leadership role to organize things. So normally for RTPJ, we normally rotate every school. With 5 schools, we rotate the schools around. So every school has 1 year to actually host it every year, the opportunity to host it. So the Rotary Club works together with the Interact Club, right? In terms of venue, participation, meals, and notes, right? Normally the ILTS is paid for from the budget of the Rotary clubs, right? Because it's training provided to the BOD. But some clubs do have the board directors pay a small amount for meals. That's up to you, right? But for my club, we sponsor them to come. We pay for their meals, normally a simple breakfast and a lunch before they finish, and also for the notes. So there's proper preparation. Also, I feel that a lot of lacking, and I noticed a lot of, even in the original manual also, there's not been enough introduction in terms of Rotary, right? Like some of them don't even know who's our district governor. They don't even know what district number we are in. Why is there even a district system? What is 3300? Why is Malaysia cut in half? Why is the bottom half of Malaysia belonging to another district? These are interesting information that naturally today, the interactors of today are naturally very curious. They will love to know all these little things. So it's nice to actually share with them. And I'm actually going to share with you some sample of some slides and notes later, right? For what we normally show them. And also what is Interact all about? Maybe you can also show them introduction to your own Rotary club. Who are your current BODs, right? Some interactors don't even know who's the youth service director, right? They don't even know who is the immediate past president, who's the president-elect. Why is there even a president-elect? We sometimes go down to even teaching them about what is a PP, what is PDG, what's a district governor, why is there so many PDGs, And why do we address them as PDG? Right? So these little things also we mentioned that why do we insist on calling you interactor something something? Because it's a title given to you because you're interactor. Right? Why a Rotarian is called Rotarian, and when he becomes a past president, you don't say past president Rotarian something. Right? So and also we also talk about citations. Now we notice a lot of times when we speak to intra-clubs who don't submit citations, it's because they're not aware there are citations. Right? Every year, RI comes up with citations for every term to do, and a lot of times intra-clubs are not aware there are citations. In fact, we know a lot of Rotary clubs don't submit citations also themselves. But that doesn't mean that the instructors are bereft or they don't have the access to information about citations. Right? As you know, this year citations are a bit different. Everything is submitted online rather than one big form. So, which means that the youth service director, the Rotary advisor, has to have the extra effort to be able to do this. Before that, there's just one printed sheet of paper, Rotary citation, in-track citation, road track citation. Print all these things and put it into the manual and give it to them. They should have it. So they can line up their activities so they can actually, and it's all simple things, right? Have a career. I remember every year there's always one on polio, there's one on career, and there's one on participation between the in-track and the sponsoring Rotary Club. Those three things automatically already give them at least silver or gold in terms of their citation certification already, right? If they achieve three of it, just by participating in one project together with the sponsoring Rotary Club, doing a project on Polio Plus, even if it's just a simple passing out of Polio Plus and polio awareness, and having maybe a Rotary advisor come and talk about career, automatically they already get 3 citations there already. So, but a lot of times they don't know because they are not sure about it, or they don't even aware that there are citations. Right? So I think it's very important to have all these briefings in there. Then you should have a breakout session for each position. So every individual role will go into different sessions. So the presidents will go into a president session where normally the trainer might be the president of your club. Right? You might have maybe an extra speaker to come in and speak about it. Like for example, our club has Dr. Kevin Young to come and give a small inspirational speech to the presidents and the vice presidents. We normally have our club treasurer, who is a qualified treasurer himself or a finance person, come down and give them templates on how they can do a proper budget, right? A proper project budget or project finances and everything. So it's up to you to choose who you want to do these things, right? And also have proper trainers for it, like I mentioned, right? So best practices by all successful ILTS, some of them do very well. RC Pudu does a great job also on this. I think RCBKS, you also do ILTS quite well also, right? And so we don't normally teach. We facilitate and allow the instructors to learn. So what we do is we give them the roles and responsibility, and we allow them to brainstorm among themselves what are your other added responsibilities. And like for example, for the individual directors, like the IU director and the comm service director, they can have access to sitting down with each of them and are able to work out what is all this training all about, right? Have a consistent set of trainers every ILTS, right? And probably pick a good trainer or speaker or Rotarian that has very good rapport with youth, right? During breakout session, maybe focus more on tangibles, like for example, projects, citations to guide them. Because a lot of times they do projects that may overlap. The IU may overlap with service, and allow them to see the distinctions between these type of things, right? I think also with today's kids, you need to also work on attention management. Watch the attention span by mixing in some other related contents. Maybe occasionally we have an inspirational speech. Maybe get the club president or the Rotary advisor to come say a few words, right? Youth service director, maybe have a sharing by a particular person coming in there, some inspirational leadership, motivational talks. I don't know. These are things that you can do. Another thing is that for those clubs out there who have one intra-club, right, or 2 intra-clubs, and you feel that it's hard to do this kind of sessions, you may also want to partner with other Rotary clubs out there, right? In the past, the Rotary Club of Petaling Jaya has always invited and opened our ILTS to other intra-clubs to actually come and attend together. We like that because number one, our instructors will get to meet your instructors, and we can start to build that meaningful bond with each other. In the past, we had Rotary Club of Kelana Jaya, Rotary Club of Titi Wangsa, Malawati, and a few others who have come and attended our session before, right? And that actually adds in a lot of interesting dialogue also. So I'd like to share with you some sample slides and content that we normally share during ILTS. One of it is that simple thing, show them who's your district governor. Now this was last year's slide, so it's still IPDG Leo, now it's DG Leo. This was last year's slide, right? Back then it was URI president was Mark Maloney, right? So today you should be showing pictures of DG KS Teo, his wife, right? And also currently Hoganak, right? For Rotary president. They need to know all these things. These are simple things they need to know. Even simple things like the hierarchy of how we fit into the bigger family of Rotary. 32,000 Rotary clubs, 529 districts, then come down to our district alone at 78 Rotary clubs. Now it's more already because now DG KSU has implemented new clubs already, so this is outdated already. All right. Then comes down to our club, right? So this is more than 12,300 Interact clubs in 133 countries. Then we normally share to them our history of our Rotary club. We have chartered when, we have 35 founding members, all these sort of things. Right? We even share with them our board, who's our current RCPJ board. Right? They have access to these slides, so we'll print it for them. So at least they know who is who in the club. Right? We share with them our legacy of service. What have we done? Like most of you know, RCPJ founded the National Kidney Foundation. Right? We have the Golden Child Project. We work with Rotary Club Tampin a lot for this project. Right? We do a lot of youth projects. I show them projects that's related to youth. This is our super camp, our little like a mini leadership camp for our interactors, right? The ICC concert, the Amazing Race, right? This was an amazing project by our youth. It spanned 25 kilometers over 5 MRT stations, and they raised, I think, like 20,000 ringgit for various charities, right? So it was an amazing race. They went around. It was a foot race. It was very safe. They walked along the roadside. They took MRTs. They went through malls. They collected one, and it was all done just with this bunch of interactors. Right. So we share with them what's the history of Interact. These are actually data put down from RI's website. Right. We even share with them the history of Rotary clubs. It's nice for them. For our clubs, like our 5 clubs, a lot of them don't even know when they were established. So it would be nice, like for example, knowing that their Interact club was actually founded in the 70s and very early, like for example, Asunta was 1970, Sultan Abdul Samad was 72, Sri Ahmad 74, Kelly High School 74, and our latest baby was Beacon House 39 in 2015. So when you do this type of thing for ILTS, it gives a lot of meaning to them to show that, hey, you're not just joining a club, you're joining a club that has a history, a prestige of being affiliated with an international service organization. And I always tell my interactors every time, go and look around the other clubs in your yearbook and in your school. What club in your school has an international service organization sponsoring and supporting it? Yes, there's Boy Scouts, Baden Powell, is Scout International, that's it, that thing. There's Leo clubs by Lions, but again, what other club has an adult advisor that comes and advises them every month? What club can do social service and is affiliated to an organization that has helped eradicate polio around the world? When we frame the ILTS in that manner, it gives the board of directors that motivation to go out there to be that leadership, to be the leader of the board of directors, to show them, hey, it's not just a club. We're not just a social club, but just not another friendship club or whatever. You are a club that has done service. We tell them that interactors in Lebanon, in Libya, in Syria, in Israel and Palestine, there are interactors all around the world doing good, and they are part of that global family. But a lot of times interactors feel disenfranchised because they don't realize they are part of a bigger family that is Rotary. Then we also share with them, this is my most important slide, which is the important relationship between Rotarian advisor and the teacher advisor. That whatever they do, they need to go through the school and not directly to the Rotary Club. I had many times when I was a Rotarian advisor and youth service director that I get calls at 11:30 at night from an interactor who wants me to approve their project. I say, have you spoken to your Rotarian advisor? I say, why are you bypassing your Rotarian advisor and asking my permission? It's because the Rotarian advisor said no, So they try to bypass me and come directly to the youth service director, thinking I'm the Prime Minister of Malaysia, right? So it can't get through the minister, so talk to the PM of Malaysia, I guess. So what we tell them, I said, look, go through the proper protocols, present your proposals at the board meeting. That's why the Rotary advisor has to be there. The Rotary advisor advises the board that, hey, look, you're doing this project, I like it, but it doesn't have a Rotary theme to it. Can you try to skew it or try to work on something that's related to the 6 areas of focus, right? It could be water sanitation, poverty alleviation, access to education, all the different areas, right? So if you can see here, how we address it to them, teacher advisors, right, vice principal, and then we have something called the ITC. Now, most of your clubs may not have enough clubs to actually form what we call an ICC, or Intract Coordinating Council. Basically, the ICC is basically a group of all the top 4 of all the schools that meet together to coordinate projects, right? So these are simple things that we share with them. I will provide this to you if you want also, right? And we give them this thing, this simple thing. This is actually from our website. It's available for in most cases, always in PDF. Right? It's the Rotary citation. This was last year's Rotary citation, right? And if you look at the Rotary citations for intra-club with distinction, they can achieve this very simple. Achieve 2 of these goals, achieve 3 of that, and achieve the rest. Like hold a meeting that introduces members to Rotary programs for young leaders. So have a meeting, right, that talks about RILA and IYE. Collaborate with your sponsoring Rotary Club advisor to develop and participate a career day or mentor. This alone already, 2 following goals, you can get it. Take action. Carry out a Global Youth Service Day. That's really easy. Raise funds or create awareness for polio eradication. Just get a Rotary advisor, come to the club, speak about what is polio, what has Rotary done for polio, done, checklist done, right? Or do something more meaningful. So that's why a lot of interactors say that, hey, how come that club got citation certificate? And most Rotarians don't know this, is that Rotary International actually sends the citation cert to the Rotary Club that you will pass on to the intra club later on also. So when they see one club get it, the other club doesn't get it, they say that, hey, how come the other PGA school not under your Rotary Club, how come they got this citation one? So they feel like, hey, how come we did all these projects, how come we don't get a citation? Right? So that's why it's important for us to educate them about this sort of thing. And the board directors is the one that, and they can align all their projects to actually fit into look at take action. Most of these citations are repeating every year, if you know. I think if some of you have been Rotarian advisors long enough, you will know that a lot of these citations always repeat itself, right? And the last one is so simple: use Rotary brand or guideline. Basically, the moment they use any of their Intract and Rotary logos, they really fulfill that number 1 guideline already, right? So these are a sample of slides that we normally share with them, right? And these are things that we have for that we have available right now inside the booklet. But if you like, I also can provide this set of slides, some samples of these slides to you also, right? To see that these are things. So these are simple things. You don't have to follow it exactly. You can change it to your own club. But these are things that we normally share with people, and we get people very excited about it, because some of them don't even know that they think that Intract only belongs to their school or only in Malaysia. They don't realize that Intract is part of a global movement with 159 countries with Intract clubs, 400, almost 500,000 Intractors around the world, almost 21,000 clubs around the world. They don't realize that. And last year, was it last year? Last year before MCO, the previous term, we actually had our Intractors. Our Intractors actually engaged with Intractors from other countries, right? Our Intract clubs in RCPJ have actually set up sister club or fellowship club agreements, and we actually help them draft the agreements. They actually established sister and brother clubs with Intract clubs around the world, right? Friendship clubs. And one of them from Cairo, one of the oldest Intract clubs in Egypt, actually came to visit our Asuntarians, our Asunta Intractors. So these are things that when they see there is a potential, they'll go online, they'll go to Facebook, they'll go to Instagram and start engaging with all these Intractors, and they build international understanding, they build international service. Right? They also open doors for maybe potential for IYE, International Youth Exchange. right? So that's why the ILTS, I feel, is one of the most important events in the life of an instructor who's been elected to be part of the board, right? And these are one of these things that we have. So this, let me see whether there's question. So the challenges of the handbook right now. So we need your help on this. Due to the ever-changing MCO status, now CMCO, and work commitments by a lot of our Rotarians, we also understand that it's been very hard for us to get some of the handbooks out to you. So East Malaysia, Kuantan clubs have not received yet. That one we know. So Sureshan, I hope I can work with you to see when we come. If possible, by December it's too late already, because I will be coming down for the Vibrant Club in December. I was supposed to pass it to you when the Vibrant Club was supposed to be last month, right? Now
maybe make it backup plan. If cannot anytime sooner than December, then December only can meet up and get the books.
No, if I can try to query. Maybe I can query that. If you are willing for me to query it to you, you help me distribute it to Kuantan, can?
The Kuantan club, I think, should be not an issue, I think.
Just help me settle Kuantan. If Sureshan can help me with that, I will be very happy. I just said you help me pass to the. Can I task you with the Kuantan clubs only? Kuantan got already, so you don't have to worry about Kuantan.
I only can distribute the one in Kuantan lah, because due to my work. That means 3 clubs, my club and the other 2 clubs lah.
Okay, can. Thank you. That's more than enough for Kuantan. So for the Kuantan metro area lah, that means the main city area lah.
Yeah, I think that one should not be a problem.
Okay, thank you, Sureshan. So I got your help. Thank you so much. East Malaysia, I can cover that already. Klang Valley clubs, you only got 85% not done, right? Like Dr. Kong has already passed to, I think, like RTBKS has done already. I don't know whether he's passed it to you yet. So he's already collected it already. So you get, please ask Dr. Kong, right? He has it. He's already collected. Patricia has told me he collected it already. We are trying to get them out as soon as possible in Klang Valley. Penang class 100%, you have not got them yet, right? So we have to find a way to pass it up to it. I'll try to talk to John to see whether we can get it up to Penang. I was supposed to go to Penang to meet a client in Sabang Perai last week, but CMCO happened, so I didn't manage to pass it up there. So I'm trying to get Penang. Perak has already been settled already, right? Danny has passed it to the outskirts, and he's also passed it to all the Ipoh Metro clubs, DG Bindi's club, all the other Ipoh main clubs already have already got it already. So it's almost complete. By estimates, if you need to buy extra, there will be an excess of maybe 500 to 600 extra copies, which you can buy for 10 ringgit a piece directly from the Rotary Center. So that's the one. Right.
Nicholas?
Yes, Anthony?
How many copies of the book do we get for the club?
Okay, you get X number of books based on how many clubs you have. So let's say, for example, you have 3 intra clubs, you get 4. 3 for the intra club, 1 for your club to keep.
1 per intra club.
Yes, 1 per intra club, which preferably gives to the teacher advisor. Don't pass it to the instructor, he may go missing. Right? We don't know, he might keep it. It's supposed to be kept by the teacher advisor, so that it's a guide for them to go every year. Right? But if the intra club wants to buy, if let's say, oh, Rotarian, can we each have 1, the board directors, or if you want to buy 1 copy for they want to get 1 extra copy, no problem, you can arrange with Patricia and arrange and collect the money and or whatever. Right?
10 ringgit.
Yeah, 10 ringgit. Right. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Yep.
Collect it from Rotary Center next week.
I can arrange for Patricia.
Okay, thanks, man. I'll collect it from. It's because Rotary Center is near my house. I can collect it from them.
Oh, awesome! Even better. If it's close. Okay, let me answer a few questions. Wow, 9 questions. So you pass the sample slides. Okay, wait. Regalia. Previous year RCIM organized ILTS for instructor. Okay, good. So RCIM does the Indra Mokota, some of the RCIM. Could you pass the sample slides to President Sam? Thank you. Paley, I'll do it for you. Hugh Jenkins, yes, I will do that for you. So how do we align our citation with the intra-year revised to January? That's a very good question. Now, it's a give or take, so they might, okay, this is something that we talked about. there might be a way that they might have to, both the term actually fits into both terms. So they may have to accomplish everything within that particular Rotary year. All right, so let's say they start in January 2020, let's say for this term, let's say the term of 2020-2021, which is DG TOS year. So they will try to finish off DG TOS year. Right? Then the following board would try to finish off DGE's RC citation also, but they can still do the following year from the previous year also. So you see, there will be overlaps. There also a potential that 2 youth service directors will overlap for that year. So we do realize there are challenges with the change of term, but this change of term has been requested by the schools themselves and also by the Ministry of Education. So that's the thing, right? So Anthony, that's a very good point. Thank you so much for pointing that out.
No, the school is very much supporting the alignment.
Yep.
Chat with the teacher advisor, but the reality is that the school suspends all activities from July onwards, all co-curricular activities, which means basically they really have January to July to achieve the citation.
Yep. So if that's the case, they have January to July to do it. So the previous term can, because they are doing, so the previous term one can actually achieve some of theirs for them for the following term. You get what I mean? Because right now, remember, the instructors come in sitting in the middle of a term, right? The 6th month of a term or the 7th month of a term in January. So they probably will be sitting in between 2 terms. So that's why I said that's why it's important for you to always explain to them how the citation works. That the citation follows the Rotary year. So you must accomplish all this to align it with whatever you can achieve, right? And the following board will also try to achieve it also. But if you look at the Rotary citation, most of the terms are very easy to follow. They're not like you have to organize a major project. It's just like have a meeting for polio. That's check 1. Use the approved logos and the people of action materials. That's one checklist done already, right? So I don't see why it's not a major problem, but it's just I think the schools will love this, but the major problem is going to be back to Rotarians. Right? We need to coordinate that side of the thing. That's why I said there will be some issues in terms of overlapping of youth service director. Because one youth service director takes over, another youth service director will take over the next year also. Right? But one thing good is that a lot of schools finish off their activities by August. So anyway, that term ends anyway also. So doesn't really overlap as much, right? But when I was interested before, I don't remember activities stopping in August. We used to do the entire year proper. But because I think nowadays with exams, PT3, SPF preparation, they have this kind of a ruling with the change of the term and everything. Yep. Any other questions? If you can, what I can do is, I will put my email address here and you can email me personally and I'll send to all of you the slide. Okay, my email is here, right? My personal email. So if you require any slides or any other information about whatever we talked about today, you can basically get back to me, right? So I can do an open mic session right now. If anyone got any questions or anything you would like to add or anything you would like to ask about.
Actually, communication. I don't know whether the other clubs are doing it. What I've got is get the president, at least the president and secretary and treasurer to join our board meeting on a quarterly basis for update.
Oh, you invite the instructors to join your board meeting? Yep. That's good. Right. We invite our Rotary because we have our meetings at night. So it's very hard for the students to come out at night to meet up with us. So we do only, for now, RTPJ, what we do is we invite our Rotractors, the Rotary president to attend the youth service, right? It would be nice also sometimes, I think also for you also, if the youth service committee is having a meeting, you can actually invite the teacher advisor or the teacher advisor or the principal to join in, right? normally we meet outside, so it'll be good for them to actually hear input on several things. So that's why I said these are important things. The teacher advisors of the school is not aware that sometimes that the Rotarians are there, right? And sometimes when they see this stranger walking in school with this person, they say, oh, it's a Rotarian advisor, and oh, Intra Club got this type of thing. They're surprised that the Intra Club has an advisor that engages and coaches and trains them or even guides them. And sometimes just by knowing that, we notice that a lot of Rotary Club tells us they automatically start to be a bit more kinder to our instructors and approving projects, because they realize that an adult has already consulted them together with the teacher advisor, right? So it's not just youthful exuberance to type of thing, right? So so I think that's one of those things that we need to keep on talking to our teacher advisors. We have a very good relationship with our teacher advisors, and it's because of that is that sometimes when we don't go, they remind us we have to go. It's quite embarrassing sometimes when we have a Rotary advisor who forgets. The teacher advisor calls us up, and when I was used to it, like they say, hey, do you know that your Rotary advisor didn't come for the meeting today? I'm like, she didn't? Okay, let me talk. So because they expect us to come, because they appreciate our feedback, and they sometimes ask, they say, hey, this project, is it Rotary related? I don't want my kids to do anything non-Rotary related, right? Is it okay? The Rotary Club approve of this or not, right? I'm hoping that most of you are also aware that District 3300 has a policy of no intra activities after 6 p.m. So that's one of those, right? Pei Li is here. Pei Li is from the new school, the Zhonghua Independent School. She's, I think, the Rotary advisor. So welcome, Pei Li. Congratulations.